everybody, and welcome. I hope you are all having a wonderful day. I am Teresa Micheletti, the Marketing and Social Media Manager for Detour, and we make the Cyrcle Phone. So, we are going to discuss today the creation of a SIM card tray, which is a very integral part of a smartphone or any phone. So, without further ado, however, I need to introduce the lady who leads us all, Christina Sear, our CEO.
Hey everybody,
Hello.
thanks for joining us today. I really appreciate you being here and taking the time to check in on us. So every AMA, we do something new and different. This AMA, we're actually going to be using two different cameras. So we'll be using actually three different cameras. So we'll be using four, actually, if you count Teresa's. So Teresa's, my laptop, and then both of the cameras on my phone. But the challenge for today is that for many months, it took me a long time to manufacture a SIM card tray for the Cyrcle Phone. And the reason for that was because I only had access to 3D printers. So I had access to, of course, the Creality, a Prusa, and then also a Formlabs 3. But the SIM card tray is so thin that, for example, if you print support material for it and you try to break off that support material, you damage the SIM card tray. So this is the challenge that we've been working on for a long time and finally surmounted. And I want to show you how we did it. So join us and we'll do that. So I'm going to go ahead and share out my Fusion 360 screen.
Let's see, do we have it yet? Oh, looks like we're having a moment of technical difficulties. This is the fun of doing live events, is when, we have a momentary pause of internet. So while Christina is working on sending that screen share, I would love to show you a little bit more of the Cyrcle Phone. So give me just a moment. I forgot to place it within arm's reach, but oof. Here we are. All right. Oh, and Christina's back. We'll have to wait to see the phone a little bit more, a little bit later.
So sorry about that. I have a wired connection, but for some reason our internet went out. But hey, that happens to all of us nowadays. So I'm going to go ahead and share out my Fusion 360 screen. Teresa, can you let me know when it's showing? Please?
Absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
Thanks. Let's do.
Oh no, she froze again. Well, this will be exciting. Let's see. Well, while that's getting all sorted out. Oh, I have her back. Good. All right, 1, 2. Ah!
I'm so sorry. That's really frustrating. So every time I try to share out my Fusion 360 display, it crashes StreamYard. We've been able to share that successfully before, and so I'm not quite sure what the problem is. And we really need to show it in order to show you what we're doing here. So I'll just go ahead and show you in real time what's going on. So a couple weeks ago on our AMA, we showed you how to make a SIM card. And that's really important for designing around it. So here's an actual SIM card in my right hand. And you can see the copper pads on the bottom. Let me see if I can get better lighting here.
Let's see, I was going to say, is it possible to get a little closer to the camera?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
See, yeah. Teresa's here to be my coach. Yes. Okay, and then, so anyways, we showed you how to make a SIM card. Whoa. So, and it's important to get that corner in there. So when you're designing in any CAD program, it's really helpful to have the mock-up of the SIM card itself so that you can build around it. It's also important to have the mock-up of the the CAD file for the connector that you're using. So this is the connector that we use on the Cyrcle Phone. So it allows for 2 SIM cards. You can see on the top row, there's a row of 3 and a row of 3 contacts. And on the bottom row, the same situation. You have 3 contacts together and then 3 contacts together. So one SIM card goes into the left and one SIM card goes into the right. Of course, it's probably backwards from how you're viewing it. So it's really important that we make a SIM card tray that can actually insert into the connector and not pop off the top part of the connector. So in order to make a SIM card tray this thin, you have to get down to less than a millimeter thick. And it's really testing the boundaries of the 3D printer. So I tried many times to print, let me see if I can do this mock-up here, but to print 3D print the SIM card trays. And you can see, let's see, this one right here, I had in the X direction. This one right here, I had in the Y direction. And the one that's actually removed was in the XY direction. So even though I printed that, it came out very, with lots of threads all over it. And even if I would sand them down, I would end up breaking the SIM card tray. So the solution that I found for printing the SIM cards is to actually make the SIM card to 3D print it, because the SIM card tray is actually flat on one side. So if you make that flat side a millimeter thicker, or even half a millimeter thicker. And so here's an example here, but while I was sanding it, I actually broke off the middle bar. But you can tell that this SIM card tray is much thicker than this SIM card tray here. So see if I can pan over. Yeah. So anyways, if you go ahead and print this SIM card tray in a thicker dimension, and then use a sanding block and sand off the flat edge over a millimeter, then you will have the definition that you need to be able to put it into the SIM card tray. So
you make it thin enough post-printing. Did I understand that correctly? Neat.
So it's the post-printing modification. And the reason why this works for our prototypes is that we only have 5 prototypes. But once we go to mass manufacturing, then I can send those CAD files and have them manufactured in amalgamation of plastic and metal. And a professional manufacturer can actually make them much sturdier and much thinner than I can myself. So the definition that you really need on the bottom, and I'm so sorry that Fusion 360 is crashing on us today.
Christina, I had an idea. I don't know if it'll work. If you can do your video from your phone, okay, and then only essentially do CAD on your computer. Everybody, this is a live test.
Yes.
So essentially, we'll turn your video off on the computer.
Yes.
And we'll try CAD.
Yes, and I have a camera stand somewhere here in the house, but unfortunately, I'm just going to have to hold my phone by hand. Okay, so I'm signing off here. Hold on, and we'll be right back.
Hopefully this works. Yeah, you gotta love the technical difficulties. Well, while that's happening, turning on our beautiful phone. Oh, hey, check that out. I love it when type things happen. Anyway, again, part of what's neat about our phone is that it has 2 SIM card trays or SIM card slots. And means you have your phone and your phone in one. So instead of having 2, it's just the one. Ooh, and we have a CAD file. So let's see how this is going. All right, we have a CAD file. That's
A
beautiful.
fantastic idea. Thank you so much, Teresa. That was really frustrating me. Okay, so not the best image. Sorry about that, folks. But you can see here that we have the SIM card tray. And I'm going to see if I can orbit it with one hand here. Normally I use the shift and then down click. I
This is
need
one
three
thing about
hands. Okay, hold on, everybody, while I try to rest this. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. Teresa, thank you for the great idea. So
yeah.
just trying to hold this like under my arm, and then this is the most hilarious AMA that I think that we've ever had. Okay, because I really need to, as all of you know who have CAD programs, I really need to hold down the shift button so that I can orbit the. Can I use this? Nope, I can't use this. Oh my gosh, this is frustrating. Okay, here we go. Hold on, everybody. Don't breathe. What I need to show you is on the bottom, we have these rails. Let's see if we can orbit this so I can show you the rails. Okay, can everybody see the rails now? Let me go ahead and do a close-up on this. So on the bottom of the SIM card tray, it's really important that you have these rails so that it can guide and support your SIM card tray as it is inserted into the SIM card connector. So don't make that side thicker. You want to make the flat side, which is now the bottom in this picture, thicker. So we're going to go ahead and try that. Oh, come on, hold the shift key down. Okay, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and flip this around. And we're going to go ahead and select the top edge, which is completely flat. We're going to extrude it. And let's go ahead and extrude it 1 millimeter. All right. I think that's actually too much. I think actually I did 0.5. So we're going to do 0.5 because, boy, that looks big. And I don't want to be standing here all day. And go ahead and then you're going to go ahead and print that. So it just so happens that we have this on the printer printing now. So we're going to go ahead and go upstairs and check it out. No judgment on my messy household.
This is the reality of Corona and the reality of current times.
And for all of those who are starting with their new 3D printer, always have a trash bag underneath the table. Otherwise, you have tons of debris everywhere. This just finished. I don't know if you noticed. So fantastic.
Hey.
So you can see that this is still really hairy. But when you sand it and sand down all of the particular hairs on it, you can see that it'll be stronger and you won't snap it as easily as if you were dealing with the actual size. So we're going to go ahead and peel this off of the build plate. Sorry if I can get a farther out view of this. Again, I need 3 hands. So let me see if I can set this somewhere. Yep, this is super hard. Okay, we're just going to try to peel this off. Let's see, I have. Well, anyways, I'm going to have to set the camera down to peel this off. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this will work, but since we're ladies, if you place, because you're using the front, well, it doesn't matter. If you put the phone at sneaky little
oh, yes. Okay. Teresa has all these tricks.
I don't know, but maybe that will work.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna brave society here and show. I'm gonna flip my camera around. Hold on. Camera.
So part of any business, big or small, is the inventiveness. I don't know if this counts outside the box, but I'll just play that. Beautiful.
Good for you. Okay, so we got the build plate here. We just need to peel these off. I got the scraper here. Hopefully the light will work with me. So we're just gonna scrape. No, you can't. Can you see this low? I can't. Oh, you can't see this low.
A little
Almost.
bit higher.
Okay, a
Up
little
by
bit
your
higher.
shoulders. Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. Let me
Like
make
so.
you larger.
Okay. So another thing is that when these SIM card trays are, come on, baby. When the SIM card trays are thinner, uh, a lot of times I destroyed the SIM card tray just getting it off of the build plate. So that was really hard. So let me see if I can. Yeah, okay. I know that there's an edge of one of these that's coming up. Here it is. Yay! It's the one that's in the Y position. It looks like.
See, and your arm is in.
Okay.
I know this is.
So we got one. We got one right here. So we're gonna leave the other two off and go ahead and take this back down. Thanks for hanging with me.
Of course.
All
All
right.
right. Adventure,
This is
adventure.
the gold. This is the gold. Actually, it's in black, but it's all right. So it still works. So a couple of things that every 3D printer person needs are, of course, good sanding paper. That's important. But I have really found, I have these particular tools that I love. Let me see if I have the enclosure for it. But it's kind of like a file, but a tiny file. And I've used these a lot for a lot of our enclosures to whittle away, loose pieces. And I know that some people use hot air guns to be able to burn away some of the threads that you get when you 3D print. But for me, that hasn't worked as well as sanding them off. So one important point, distinction between sanding off a thread on a 3D print and melting off a thread on a 3D print is that when you sand it, the resulting product actually looks really destroyed because it's been sanded down, and so it looks, let me show you. So I don't know if you can see on these two. Well, it's not as obvious on these two, but this one thank you, Teresa. This one on the, trying to find my camera on my phone. Okay, this one right here is a lot smoother. Gosh, and the focus is not helping me. Oh, and this one's looking a little gray because I have sanded it quite a bit. I'm sorry, it's not showing too well.
Do you want
But
to
when
try?
you, yes.
Put your hand up so it mostly fills like the SIM card tray, like in your hand. It's like a flat palm, so it becomes round, like your hand becomes the background. Again, all of this is testing. Maybe that'll pull the focus.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Maybe. Come on, little camera. Oh,
I know. Come on, little camera. So, one of another interesting thing is actually, let me finish this point. So, but when you melt it off with the heat gun, then it's a lot smoother. I don't have a heat gun at this location, but I have a soldering iron, and sometimes I do use the soldering iron, but it really, you need to be judicious with it. It makes a huge mess, and it leaves kind of a divot and kind of an, let's see, it's as if you were applying a hot end to a candle. So it always looks worse after you poke it. Even though you're trying to smooth the candle over, it's better to use a hot air gun because it smooths the edge of the 3D print over than it is to use a soldering iron with an old solder tip that you don't care about anymore. So anyways, I don't think we'll have time for me to sand down both both apertures of this SIM card tray for you to see, but I can at least get most of it done. Okay.
So
oh,
Your
I'm
little
sorry, what?
file, um, sandpapers have different specifications of their, very fine, has a lot of little sand pieces. What grit is?
That
Aha.
question. So this is actually, I got these at Ben Franklin Crafts, and I absolutely love them, but they do not, because it's just it's a craft store, not kind of a professional, well, I don't know. They have lots of professional tools there too at Ben Franklin, but it doesn't have the grit on it. But when I actually sand it on the flat sides, we're going to go ahead and sand the flat side here. And that normally takes, we're not going to spend time doing it now, but it normally takes me about at least 8 minutes to be able to sand down the flat side smoothly enough so that the SIM card tray fits into the connector. So what I'm trying to demonstrate just quickly to you here is having a SIM card actually in the slot. And I need to work on the angled part, has a couple more threads on it, but you can see here that it's fitting. Yay, bravo! So those are some things that you can do to not only print SIM card trays, but also to print other fine detail pieces that you're trying to 3D print and work with. So that's all I have for today. I really appreciate you joining us. And I know that our AMA is a little short today, but I hope it's full of quality content. So
We do have a question
oh,
from Zayan Turbo on Twitch.
okay.
They would like to know, in our opinion, what is better, Apple or Samsung? So Apple or Android, I believe.
Yes, definitely. So definitely Samsung over Apple, but to specify, definitely Android phone over an iOS phone. And the reason why, there's several reasons actually, but one of my main reasons why I choose an Android phone over an iOS phone is frequently the hardware is better. So when you compare, when you get down to the nitty gritty and you compare the hardware specs of Android phones in general are far vastly better than the ones on iOS phones. So if you have a choice, I would encourage you to switch to Android simply because of the hardware. As for the software, there's a huge variety of kind of overlay user interfaces in the industry today. So for example, Samsung has its own user interface, Huawei has its own interface. There are many, the Pixel has its own interface, although it's the cleanest of all of the brands and is touted as such. So because of that, the experience that you're going to have on Android across different vendors can be vastly different. In fact, my favorite UI, hands down, iOS, Android, doesn't matter, Huawei. Huawei has received awards for years for their user interface. It is so easy to use and very intuitive. And I wish that Huawei phones could be sold here from cellular carrier stores here in the United States because of that. Unfortunately, they're blocked, but they are available outside the United States. So if you're in Europe, India, Africa, Asia, you can buy Huawei phones and enjoy that beautiful user interface. For those of you in the United States, I'm particularly fond of the Samsung UI, although some of the features there kind of annoy me. The Pixel is not bad either. Really, I'm enjoying that as well. I have, this was the other point that I was going to bring up. So as a mobile phone maven, I have many different phones on my desk that I use and swap in and out because I always want to make sure that our Cyrcle phone that we're using is comparable to everything else that you've seen out there. And it was amazing to me stepping out of, for example, I started with a Samsung Android phone. when I switched to Android from iOS. And it was amazing to me stepping away from the Samsung Android phone and stepping towards, for example, a Pixel Android phone, what the difference was. It was amazing, especially in the user interface. So, and some of the features involved. So for example, the Pixel also has the Google Mobile Suite is very well integrated into the Pixel phone, of course, because it's made by Google. And so because of that, some of the things are a lot more seamless than you see on other phones. So we just want to make sure that our phone, our smartphone, the Cyrcle Phone 4G LTE is the best that you've ever experienced, the best experience that you've ever had on an Android phone. So please, when we launch our pre-sales, please support us, please buy one, and we hope that you'll be happy with the result.
Yes, yes, and the launch alert, you can sign up to get launch alerts so that you know exactly when that launch will happen. So look down in the comment or in the description of this video, as well as if you simply go to our Cyrcle Phone website, there are links all over the place that you can click to for our launch alerts, as well as a plethora of other social media channels in case you have a preference. Let's see. And fun fact, Zan Turbo, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. They're in England, so they can look for the suggested phone you had. So that's pretty neat.
Oh, in Huawei. Huawei is really good. So until our phone comes out, I suggest Huawei. But outside of the United States, inside the United States, I think you should go with what you know. If you are very comfortable with the Google Mobile Suite, definitely try out the Pixel. Although I've been a little sad with the hardware on the Pixel phone, the OnePlus series, they give you dynamite hardware for a fraction of the cost. If you can buy even an older model of the OnePlus phones, you'll be very happy with those. And of course, Samsung, it's a great phone as well.
But the Cyrcle Phone is also a great phone. Don't you forget it. We love supporting and, obviously highlighting other wonderful technology. But there's nothing quite like the Cyrcle Phone. Hello, circular.
Beautiful. I love that wallpaper. So that's actually a photographer out of Australia. She actually allowed us to use that for our one of our wallpaper choices. So that's one of the wallpaper choices that you can experience when you buy the Cyrcle Phone. We look to collect even more wallpapers to be featured there as well. If you have a favorite photograph that you've taken that you would like us to feature, please let us know.
Ooh, that'd be so fun. Yes. Awesome. Unless anybody else who's watching has any questions, we'll pause for just a moment in case you want to type them in. So I figured I might as well show just some of the ways that our Cyrcle Phone can just be more pleasant, because based on research, et cetera, and perhaps you've noticed on most social media, your profile pictures are now a circle. And that's because human eyes find that more pleasing. It's more gentle and enjoyable. So for instance, we can have your beautiful little clock. Ooh, there we go. And then all of your apps, your preferred primary go-tos, just in a lovely curve right around it, which I think is really exciting. And it's really, it's just pleasing, and also with that, since the phone sits comfortably in your hand, you can reach, this is awkward, you can reach like all around. Whoa, well, there we are. I clicked on one of the apps on accident. And again, it's not gonna fall. And my pinky is safe and not getting exhausted, especially in Corona times. I know I'm using my phone a lot more, and that poor Pinky gets tired. So anyway, don't forget launch alerts. Join the website. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, whether it was live or you're watching this after the fact. We really appreciate it. And please tell your friends. We're thrilled with the interaction we've had, but the more the merrier, of course. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that we have our name right there, as we should. So, but we're only going to make it with, support. And you can reach your friends probably easier than we can, or at least a personal recommendation of like, yo, it's something interesting. Just check it out. Hopefully, even if you're not sure if that's something that they'd purchase, it might be. And any support is very welcome. So don't forget, tell your friends. And I think no more questions. So I think that's all of it, Christina.
That's it. Thank you so much, Teresa. You really bring it all together for us. Thank you.
All right. All the best to everybody. And we'll see you next Thursday at noon Pacific Standard Time for another Ask Me Anything. All the best.